You finish dinner and open Netflix. The home screen greets you with rows of suggestions. You scroll briefly and pick something. Seems simple enough. You made a choice. But did you really? That selection wasn't random. Netflix's system knows what you've watched before. It knows how long you looked at each thumbnail. It remembers when you paused or skipped episodes. The recommendations aren't suggestions. They're carefully calculated nudges. The same thing happens when you open Spotify. That playlist you listen to every morning? It was assembled by an algorithm studying your habits. The songs you discover were predicted long before you heard them. The system knows your musical taste better than your closest friends. Amazon works similarly. The customers who bought this also bought section isn't just helpful, it's persuasive. The "you might like" products appear because the algorithm has mapped out purchasing patterns across millions of users. It doesn't just predict what you'll buy, it influences what you'll buy next. This creates what Eli Pariser calls filter bubbles. Each platform shows you a version of reality tailored to your past behavior. Two people can search the same term on Google and get completely different results. Their political views, browsing history, even their device type all affect what information they see. A simple experiment proves this. Have two friends search climate change at the same time in the same city. One might get scientific reports about rising temperatures. The other might see articles questioning whether climate change exists. Same search, different realities. These systems don't show you objective truth. They show you what you're most likely to engage with. Over time, this creates a feedback loop. You see more of what you already believe. Your existing views get reinforced. Alternative perspectives fade away. The effect is subtle but powerful. You still feel like you're making decisions. You still believe you're in control. But your choices are being shaped by systems designed to predict and influence your behavior. The menu is being set for you. You're just picking from the options provided. This isn't necessarily malicious. These companies want to give users what they want. But the side effect is that we're all living in slightly different informational universes. We're not seeing the world as it is. We're seeing versions optimized to keep us engaged. The implications extend beyond entertainment. News algorithms determine what current events we learn about. Dating apps decide which potential partners we meet. Job search platforms filter which opportunities we see. In each case, invisible systems are making judgments about what we should and shouldn't encounter. You might think you're exercising free will when you click, swipe, or purchase. But how free is that choice when the options presented to you have been carefully selected by machines that know your behavior better than you know yourself? The uncomfortable truth is that many of our decisions are really just reactions to environments engineered to produce specific responses. This doesn't mean we have no agency, but it does mean we need to understand how these systems work, because the first step to making truly free choices is recognizing when the menu isn't neutral, when the options themselves have been carefully designed to guide us in particular directions. You open an app, just for a minute, just to check. A video plays, then another, then another. Suddenly an hour is gone. This isn't an accident, it's design. Social media platforms don't just show you content, they test you. Every swipe, every pause, every like is tracked. The system learns what keeps you watching. Then it gives you more of that. The key is dopamine. That's the chemical in your brain linked to pleasure and reward. When something surprises you, when something excites you, when something makes you laugh, dopamine hits, and your brain wants more. TikTok's algorithm is the best at this. It doesn't just recommend videos. It studies you. The first few clips are a test. Which ones do you watch all the way through? Which ones make you swipe away? Within minutes, it knows what holds your attention. Then it floods your feed with it. The result? You don't choose what to watch. The algorithm chooses for you. And it's not picking what's best for you. It's picking what keeps you scrolling. Tristan Harris, a former Google engineer who now runs the Center for Humane Technology, explains it like this. These apps aren't tools, they're slot machines. Every swipe could be a jackpot, a funny clip, a shocking reveal, a perfect meme. That uncertainty hooks you. The problem isn't just wasted time. It's what the algorithm learns to feed you. Outrage spreads faster than calm discussion. Extreme opinions get more engagement than balanced ones. The system pushes people toward content that triggers the strongest reactions. And it's getting smarter. New AI can predict what you'll watch before you know it yourself. The loop tightens. The pull gets stronger. You might think you're in control, but the numbers say otherwise. The average person checks their phone 150 times a day. Teens spend over 7 hours daily on screens. The apps know this. They count on it. The worst part? Even the people who build these systems warn about them. Many tech insiders limit their own social media use. They know how it works. They know how hard it is to resist. Harris puts it bluntly. There are only two industries that call their customers users: drug dealers and software companies. The comparison isn't casual. The mechanisms are similar. Variable rewards, escalating engagement, difficulty stopping. The difference? One is illegal. The other is on your phone. This isn't about willpower. The playing field isn't level. You're not fighting bad habits. You're fighting teams of engineers paid to break those habits. The solution isn't simple. Delete the apps and you lose connection. Keep them and you feed the loop. Some try middle paths, turning off notifications, setting timers, curating feeds. But the system is designed to pull you back. The question isn't whether you can resist. It's whether the designers will change course. So far, the incentives push the other way. More engagement means more money. More time means more data. More data means better hooks. The loop keeps spinning, and with every update, it spins faster. You wake up and check your phone. The news feed shows exactly what interests you. The music app plays songs you always like. The shopping site suggests products you typically buy. Everything fits perfectly. That's the problem. Personalization seems helpful. It saves time. It cuts through noise. But it comes with a cost. The more these systems learn about you, the narrower your world becomes. Think about how people discovered music before algorithms. They flipped through record stores. They heard songs on the radio by chance. Friends made mixtapes with unexpected tracks. This randomness led to discoveries. You might hate 9 songs but love the 10th. That 10th song could change your taste forever. Now streaming platforms remove this chance. They play safe bets, songs almost identical to what you already like. The system wants to keep you listening, so it avoids risks. Over time, your musical taste doesn't grow. It calcifies. The same happens with news. 2 people can follow the same event and see completely different coverage. Their feeds show angles that match their existing views. Articles that challenge their perspectives get filtered out. They don't even know what they're missing. This creates 2 problems. First, you lose serendipity, those valuable accidents that spark new ideas. Second, society fractures as people inhabit separate information bubbles. Bookstores once offered this randomness. You went for one book but spotted another on a nearby shelf. Maybe you browsed sections you normally ignored. Sometimes these chance encounters led to breakthroughs. Algorithmic recommendations remove this. They show you books like those you've bought before. Your intellectual diet becomes repetitive. Travel apps do something similar. They suggest hotels and restaurants matching your past choices. This seems convenient, but it means you keep having the same types of experiences. You miss out on places that might have surprised you. The most concerning effect happens with political views. Social media feeds show content that aligns with your existing beliefs. People with different opinions see different facts. Over time, each group becomes more convinced of their own views and less understanding of others. Common ground disappears. This isn't theoretical. Studies show social media increases political polarization. The more personalized the feed, the more extreme the divisions become. People aren't just disagreeing. They're living in separate realities. The systems aren't designed to do this intentionally. They simply optimize for engagement. Content that confirms existing beliefs gets more clicks than content that challenges them. The algorithms follow this signal. There's an alternative. Some platforms offer random mode options. Others intentionally show opposing viewpoints. These features help, but they're not the default. The business model still favors personalization. The paradox is clear. The better these systems get to know us, the less we truly explore. The more they cater to our preferences, the fewer new preferences we develop. Convenience comes at the price of growth. This creates a strange situation. We have access to more information than any generation in history, yet we might be experiencing less intellectual diversity than ever before. The filters are so good that we don't notice what's being filtered out. The solution isn't rejecting technology. It's understanding how these systems work. It's occasionally stepping outside our personalized bubbles. It's recognizing that sometimes what we don't know we're missing might be exactly what we need to find. The most important discoveries often come from unexpected places, but when everything is tailored to our existing patterns, those surprises become increasingly rare. We get exactly what we want and lose what we might have wanted tomorrow. There are people behind every algorithm, not faceless machines, but real individuals sitting in offices, writing code, making decisions. Most work in unremarkable buildings in Silicon Valley. Their job isn't to control minds or manipulate populations. Their job is much simpler: keep users engaged. The process begins innocently enough. A team of engineers builds a recommendation system. Maybe it's for a social media platform or a streaming service. At first, the goal seems helpful: show people content they might enjoy. But then the metrics come in. The team notices certain types of posts get more clicks. Controversial topics generate longer watch times. Emotional headlines lead to more shares. This is where the design shifts. The engineers aren't evil, they're just following the data. If angry political posts keep users on the platform 17% longer, the algorithm gets adjusted to show more angry political posts. If puppy videos make people scroll past ads without noticing, the feed gets flooded with puppies. Every decision gets measured, tested, and optimized for one thing: attention. Former employees from these companies have started speaking out. One ex-Facebook engineer explained how the newsfeed algorithm was repeatedly tweaked to favor content that triggered strong emotional reactions. Posts that made people outraged or indignant consistently outperformed calm, rational discussions. The engineers knew this, their managers knew this, but changing it would have meant lower engagement numbers. So nothing changed. Another whistleblower from a major tech company described how their team built an AI to detect inappropriate content. During testing, they discovered it was disproportionately flagging posts from minority groups. The system wasn't intentionally biased. It had simply learned from historical moderation patterns that already contained human prejudices. Fixing it required rebuilding entire datasets. These stories reveal an uncomfortable truth. The people creating these systems aren't mustache-twirling villains. They're ordinary professionals solving technical challenges. The problem isn't their intentions, it's their constraints. When success gets measured in daily active users and quarterly revenue, everything else becomes secondary. Government agencies now use similar technology. Several cities have experimented with predictive policing algorithms that claim to forecast crime hotspots. These systems analyze historical arrest data to predict where crimes might occur next. But historical arrest data often reflects policing biases rather than actual crime rates. Poor neighborhoods get over-policed, which generates more arrest records, which tells the algorithm to send even more police there. The engineers building these tools understand the limitations. Many express private concerns about how their work gets used. But the systems keep growing more complex, more pervasive, more influential. Each update makes them slightly better at holding attention, predicting behavior, guiding choices. What begins as a simple recommendation feature evolves into something much more powerful. The original creators move on to other projects. New teams take over the code. The system keeps learning, adapting, expanding, but always toward that same original goal. Keep users engaged, keep them clicking, keep them coming back. The real issue isn't that these architects set out to build manipulative systems. It's that nobody stopped to ask whether engagement should be the only metric that matters. When the tools work well enough to become invisible, we forget to question their effects. Until we notice, we can't look away. You apply for a job online. The company uses an AI system to screen resumes. Your application gets rejected immediately. No explanation. No human ever saw your qualifications. This happens every day. Major corporations use AI tools to filter job applicants. The systems scan resumes, looking for patterns in successful hires. On the surface, this seems efficient. In practice, it creates problems nobody anticipated. One company discovered their hiring AI was automatically rejecting female applicants. The system wasn't programmed to discriminate. It learned from years of hiring data that happened to favor men. When it saw women's colleges or women's organizations on a resume, it downgraded the application. The engineers didn't build it to work this way. They didn't even know it was happening until someone investigated. This is the black box problem. Modern AI systems make decisions through complex networks of calculations. Even their creators often can't explain exactly how they reach specific conclusions. The AI identifies patterns humans might miss, but it can't explain its reasoning in terms we understand. A bank used similar technology to approve loans. The system worked well for most applicants. Then officials noticed it rejected nearly all applications from a particular neighborhood. Further analysis revealed the AI had found a correlation between certain zip codes and loan defaults. It wasn't considering individual circumstances, just making broad judgments based on geography. These systems don't exist in a vacuum. Somebody decides how they get built and deployed. That power currently sits with three groups: technology companies, governments, and to a much lesser extent, users. Tech firms develop most AI systems. Their priorities shape how the technology evolves. When social media companies build recommendation algorithms, they optimize for engagement. When e-commerce sites create product suggesters, they prioritize sales. The systems work as designed, but the designs serve corporate interests first. Governments have started using similar tools. China's social credit system offers the clearest example. Cameras monitor public behavior. Purchases, social connections, even how people cross the street all factor into a personal score. High scores bring privileges. Low scores impose restrictions. The system combines surveillance with algorithmic judgment. Other governments deploy less visible systems. Police departments use predictive algorithms to allocate officers. Schools employ automated systems to flag potential dropouts. Immigration agencies utilize facial recognition at borders. In each case, software makes decisions that affect people's lives. Users have the least control. Most people don't choose which algorithms govern their experiences. They don't opt into the systems that filter their job applications, sort their news feeds, or evaluate their creditworthiness. The tools simply appear, woven into the infrastructure of daily life. China's system shows where this could lead. The technology already exists to track purchases, monitor movements, and analyze behavior. The same AI that recommends products could just as easily enforce social norms. The difference lies in who controls it and for what purpose. This raises fundamental questions about power in algorithmic societies. When software makes important decisions, should corporations control it? Should governments regulate it? Should citizens have input? Currently, these systems develop behind closed doors, then emerge fully formed into the world. The hiring algorithms, the loan approvers, the social credit systems, they all share this characteristic. They make judgments without transparency. They affect lives without accountability. And they spread rapidly because they work well enough to be useful, even when they don't work perfectly. This creates a paradox. The same systems that efficiently filter job applicants can also embed historical prejudices. The tools that conveniently personalize experiences can also constrain choices. The technology that helps governments manage societies can also enable unprecedented surveillance. The algorithms themselves don't choose these outcomes, people do. The engineers who build them, the executives who deploy them, the officials who regulate them, and the users who accept them. The black box isn't just a technical problem, it's a power structure, one that's already shaping lives in ways both obvious and invisible. The future won't be determined by the technology itself, but by who controls it and for what purpose. That decision is being made now, not in some distant tomorrow, but in corporate boardrooms and government offices today. The systems are learning. The question is, are we? A police department deploys a new crime prediction system. The software analyzes years of arrest records to forecast where crimes might occur next. On paper, this seems logical. In practice, it creates a self-fulfilling cycle. Neighborhoods with historically high arrest rates get flagged as high risk. Officers patrol these areas more intensely. More patrols lead to more arrests. More arrests reinforce the algorithm's predictions. Meanwhile, crimes in wealthier districts get overlooked because the system directs attention elsewhere. The algorithm didn't create bias, it amplified existing patterns and called them justice. Dating apps operate on similar principles. Swipe right on enough profiles with certain features, and the algorithm learns your type. Over time, it shows you more of what you've liked before and filters out everything else. This creates a paradox. While promising to expand your romantic options, the system actually narrows them. People report seeing the same kinds of faces repeatedly. The app isn't showing you all potential matches, just those it calculates you'll engage with. This shapes modern relationships in subtle ways. When software decides who you meet, it influences who you love. Banks use automated systems to evaluate loan applications. The algorithms process thousands of data points in seconds. They also inherit biases from historical lending patterns. Minority applicants often face higher rejection rates, even with identical financial profiles to approved candidates. The computer says no, but nobody can fully explain why. Workplaces employ similar tools for hiring and firing. Some companies use AI to monitor employee productivity. The systems track keystrokes, email patterns, even bathroom breaks. Workers who fall below algorithmic standards get flagged for termination. Human resources simply follows the software's recommendations. Stock markets now react to algorithmic trading. Programs execute thousands of transactions per second, responding to patterns invisible to human investors. These systems don't assess company fundamentals, they exploit microsecond opportunities. When they malfunction, they can crash markets in minutes. The 2010 flash crash erased nearly $1 trillion in value before anyone understood what happened. Social media platforms optimize for engagement. Their algorithms learn what holds attention longest. Outrage performs better than nuance. Conflict generates more clicks than consensus. Over time, feeds fill with content that triggers strong reactions. Researchers note correlations between social media use and mental health declines. Teen depression rates have risen alongside smartphone adoption. The connection isn't simple causation, but the patterns are clear. Systems designed to maximize engagement often minimize well-being. The effects compound. Political discourse grows more polarized as algorithms feed each side content confirming their biases. Dating pools shrink as apps learn and reinforce narrow preferences. Financial opportunities diminish as automated systems replicate historical inequities. Justice systems compound existing disparities under the guise of data-driven objectivity. These outcomes weren't predetermined, they emerged from countless small decisions. Engineers tweaking parameters, executives chasing metrics, regulators failing to ask hard questions. Each choice made sense in isolation. Together, they reshaped society in ways nobody intended but everyone experiences. The technology works exactly as designed. The question is whether we've designed the right outcomes. When algorithms influence who gets hired, who gets loans, who gets policed, and who gets loved, they don't just reflect the world as it is. They shape the world as it will be. The consequences aren't theoretical. They appear in job rejection emails, in mismatched dating profiles, in unbalanced policing statistics, in rising therapy bills. The systems function as intended. But more and more, people are asking whether those intentions align with human needs. What began as convenient tools have become invisible architects of daily life. They don't force decisions. They structure the options. They don't control outcomes. They define the possibilities. And with each passing year, their influence grows more pervasive, more subtle, and more consequential. The future won't be decided by machines. It will be determined by how humans choose to build, regulate, and resist these systems. The algorithms are learning. The question is, are we? You delete Instagram. You remove TikTok from your phone. You swear off social media for good. 30 days later, you reinstall everything. This cycle repeats millions of times every day. The problem isn't willpower. The systems are designed to pull you back. They exist beyond any single app or platform. Algorithms shape what news you read, what products you see, even what job listings appear. Going offline entirely means sacrificing convenience, connections, sometimes career opportunities. Some try compromise solutions. They set screen time limits that they immediately override. They use grayscale modes that last until the first interesting notification. They install blocking software they eventually uninstall. The hooks go deeper than any quick fix can reach. The reality is more complex than just logging off. Modern life requires digital participation. School assignments move online. Work happens through collaborative platforms. Friends organize events through social media. Complete disconnection creates new problems while solving others. Alternative platforms offer partial solutions. Mastodon provides a decentralized social network without algorithmic feeds. DuckDuckGo delivers search results without personalized tracking. These tools help but require changing habits built over years. Most users eventually drift back to mainstream options where their friends and communities remain. Open-source AI projects take a different approach. They build transparent systems where users control the rules. Anyone can examine the code, suggest changes, or create modified versions. The technology exists but struggles to compete with corporate-funded alternatives. Some governments attempt regulation. The European Union's GDPR gives users more data control. California's privacy laws require companies to disclose collected information. These measures help but can't keep pace with technological changes. By the time laws pass, the systems have evolved. Schools now teach digital literacy alongside traditional subjects. Students learn how algorithms work and how to recognize persuasive design. This knowledge helps but doesn't neutralize the psychological effects engineered by teams of behavioral experts. Workplaces face similar challenges. Some companies ban social media on work devices. Others monitor employee screen time. These policies often backfire, creating resentment without changing behavior. The lure of distraction proves stronger than top-down rules. The most effective resistance comes from understanding. When users know how recommendation engines work, they scroll more deliberately. When shoppers recognize personalized nudges, they make more conscious choices. Awareness doesn't eliminate influence, but creates space for countermeasures. Technical solutions emerge slowly. Browser extensions can block trackers. VPNs mask digital fingerprints. Alternative app stores offer modified versions of popular platforms. Each tool helps, but none provide complete protection against the broader ecosystem. Cultural shifts may matter more than technical fixes. Some influencers promote mindful technology use. Digital wellness movements gain followers. The conversation changes from complete rejection to conscious engagement. People seek quality interactions over mindless consumption. Business models present the biggest obstacle. Platforms relying on advertising need maximum engagement. Until that fundamental incentive changes, alternatives struggle to compete. User-funded services show promise but face adoption hurdles. The balance of power remains uneven. Individual users fight against systems optimized by thousands of engineers with billions in funding. Small choices accumulate, following diverse voices, seeking multiple perspectives, occasionally stepping away. Complete escape proves impossible, but increased awareness changes the relationship. Users who understand the mechanisms gain slight advantages. They notice when recommendations feel manipulative. They recognize when emotions are being triggered intentionally. The systems keep improving. Machine learning adapts to resistance strategies. What works today may fail tomorrow. The arms race continues between user awareness and algorithmic persuasion. Future solutions may require structural changes. Different incentive models for platforms. Stronger privacy protections. Greater algorithmic transparency. These changes happen slowly against powerful opposition. For now, resistance remains partial and personal. Some days you win. Some days the algorithms do. The recognition that there's a battle at all represents the first step. The question isn't whether we can completely resist. It's whether we can resist enough to maintain autonomy. Whether small acts of awareness create enough space for independent thought. Whether we can use the systems without being used by them. The answer remains unclear but worth pursuing. Each conscious choice builds resistance muscles. Every moment of recognition weakens the grip. Complete victory may be impossible, but partial freedom is worth the effort. The struggle continues daily in small ways, closing a tab, ignoring a notification, questioning a recommendation. These minor acts form the front lines of a conflict that will define the digital age. Not between humans and machines, but between autonomy and influence. The outcome depends on whether enough people recognize there's a choice to be made at all. Whether we see the strings before they move our hands. Whether we can maintain enough independence to matter. The systems will keep evolving. Our awareness must evolve faster. Not to reject technology entirely, but to engage with it on terms we consciously choose rather than passively accept. This middle path, neither total rejection nor complete submission, may be the only realistic resistance. A daily practice of small rebellions against invisible influence. A recognition that every scroll, every click, every tap represents a micro-decision about who controls what. The battle isn't for complete victory, but for enough autonomy to matter, for sufficient awareness to choose, for the ability to use tools without becoming tools ourselves. That struggle continues every time you pick up your phone, every time you open an app, every time you interact with systems designed to shape your behavior. The resistance happens in those small moments of recognition and choice. The systems are powerful but not omnipotent. They influence but don't fully control. That gap between influence and control is where resistance lives. Small, daily, often imperfect, but always possible. The work continues. The awareness spreads. The resistance evolves. The outcome remains uncertain, but the effort remains necessary. Not perfect freedom, but enough autonomy to matter. Not complete control, but sufficient awareness to choose. That's the ongoing challenge of resistance in the algorithmic age. Not winning completely, but not losing entirely. Not escaping the systems, but maintaining enough independence within them. A daily practice of small but meaningful rebellions. The struggle continues, the awareness grows, the resistance evolves. The outcome depends on whether enough people recognize the choice before them, not just what to click, but whether to click at all. That recognition, when it comes, changes everything. Not immediately, not completely, but meaningfully. One conscious choice at a time. Every time you visit a website, tiny files called cookies track your activity. They remember what you clicked, what you searched, what you bought. Over time, they build a detailed profile of your habits. Clearing these cookies regularly disrupts this tracking. It forces systems to rebuild their understanding of you from scratch. Search engines like Google customize results based on your history. Using alternatives like DuckDuckGo or StartPage removes this personalization. You see the same results as everyone else, not just what the algorithm thinks you want to see. This simple switch provides a more neutral view of information. Advertising platforms let you opt out of personalized ads. In Google settings, you can turn off ad personalization. Facebook offers similar controls. This doesn't reduce the number of ads you see, but it makes them less precisely targeted. The messages become more generic, less psychologically tailored. Media consumption habits shape algorithmic recommendations. Watching only one news source trains the system to show more of the same. Intentionally diversifying inputs, reading opposing viewpoints, trying unfamiliar content, stretches the boundaries of your filter bubble. The algorithms adapt, gradually expanding their suggestions. Browser extensions like Privacy Badger block hidden trackers. VPN services mask your location. These tools make it harder for systems to build complete profiles about your behavior. They don't eliminate tracking but reduce its precision. Social media platforms provide adjustment options. You can tell Instagram to show less of certain content. YouTube lets you remove items from your watch history. These manual corrections signal your preferences directly, bypassing the algorithm's assumptions. Email services categorize messages automatically. Regularly checking all tabs, not just the primary inbox, reveals what the system filtered out. Moving important messages between tabs teaches the algorithm to prioritize differently. Shopping sites use your browsing history to set prices. Searching in private mode or from different devices sometimes shows varied pricing. This reveals how personalized the marketplace has become. These methods don't break the system entirely. They create friction in the tracking process. They introduce enough uncertainty to reduce the algorithm's lock on your attention. Small, consistent actions accumulate over time, gradually reclaiming portions of your digital autonomy. The future. Will AI control us, or will we control it? Neuralink represents one possible trajectory. The brain-computer interface aims to merge human cognition with artificial intelligence. Proponents envision seamless access to information. Critics warn of unprecedented vulnerability to manipulation. The technology remains experimental, but raises fundamental questions about human agency. Artificial General Intelligence, AGI, presents another frontier. Current AI specializes in narrow tasks. AGI would match human adaptability. Its development could lead to machines that learn, reason, and innovate across all domains. This potential triggers both excitement and concern among researchers. Optimistic scenarios imagine AI solving complex problems. Climate modeling could become more accurate. Medical diagnoses might improve. Scientific discovery could accelerate. Automated systems might handle tedious work, freeing humans for creative pursuits. Pessimistic projections suggest different outcomes. Automated decision-making could reduce human judgment. Economic systems might prioritize efficiency over well-being. Social control mechanisms could become more sophisticated and inescapable. The divergence between these futures depends on governance. Current AI development occurs primarily within corporate structures. Their priorities shape the technology's evolution. Alternative models exist in academic and open-source communities, but lack comparable resources. Policymakers struggle to keep pace with technological change. Regulations typically react to existing problems rather than anticipate emerging ones. The gap between innovation and oversight continues to widen. Public understanding lags further behind. Most people interact with AI daily without recognizing its influence. This knowledge gap makes informed debate difficult. Widespread algorithmic literacy could change the power dynamic between users and systems. Technical solutions like explainable AI attempt to make systems more transparent. These approaches let users understand how decisions get made. Implementation remains inconsistent across platforms and applications. Ethical frameworks for AI development exist, but lack enforcement mechanisms. Principles like fairness, accountability, and transparency often compete with commercial interests. The tension between ideals and incentives persists. Workplace automation continues expanding. Some jobs disappear while others transform. The labor market adapts unevenly, creating new opportunities for some and obsolescence for others. This economic reshaping occurs without comprehensive planning. Social interactions increasingly involve algorithmic mediation. Dating, friendships, and professional connections all flow through digitally filtered channels. The long-term effects on human relationships remain uncertain. The balance of control fluctuates. Sometimes users guide the technology. Other times, the technology guides users. The relationship evolves constantly, with neither side maintaining permanent advantage. Future scenarios depend on present choices. The algorithms learn from our behavior. We in turn learn to navigate their influence. This mutual adaptation will likely continue indefinitely, with periods of equilibrium punctuated by disruptive innovations. The endpoint remains unclear. Complete human control seems improbable given technological complexity. Total AI dominance appears equally unlikely due to inherent limitations. The probable future involves ongoing negotiation between human intentions and machine capabilities. What emerges from this negotiation will define coming decades. The parameters get set now through individual choices, corporate policies, and societal values. The trajectory isn't fixed, but accumulates from countless daily decisions. The question of control may ultimately have no final answer. The relationship between humans and AI will probably remain fluid, with boundaries constantly tested and redrawn. The challenge becomes managing this evolution thoughtfully, rather than resisting or surrendering completely. This ongoing process lacks clear heroes or villains. It consists of incremental advances, unintended consequences, and gradual adaptations. The sum of these small changes will determine whether future technologies serve human needs or reshape them entirely. The outcome belongs to those who pay attention, who understand the mechanisms, and who engage deliberately rather than passively. In this sense, the future remains unwritten, its authorship distributed among all participants in the digital age. The algorithms will keep learning. The only question is whether we'll learn faster. So next time you pick up your phone, ask yourself, are you choosing? Or is something else choosing for you? Take a deep breath before answering the question. As usual, we will wrap up here for today. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Don't forget to leave a like, share the video, and subscribe. Now let's debate in the comments. Do you think AI controls you? Let's debate.